So how are we going to meet, or how do you intend to meet all these promises you have made to the Nigerian people? And I begin with you.
The choice before us, the issue before us in Nigeria is the issue of morality. When I get interviewed and I'm asked a lot of questions about how do you, what are you promising Nigerians? What are you going to do about education, about insecurity, and so on? Those are important questions. But where we are right now, the challenge that is facing us as a nation is fundamentally a moral issue. Who can we trust as a leader? Who are we going to trust? Because look, there is no manifesto of any policy. It happens. And why is it that things that are working well in other countries are not working in Nigeria? You go to Cotonou and you do not have to think about electricity. Is it that we do not know the technology of it? It's available. The issue is about us, about the human beings who are managing our affairs. And it's a very big problem because how do we, how can we decide? How can we sense that this person is worthy of our trust? Those who are there, or some of them, we have things to go by. At least we can say, well, we have experienced them for so long, we have certain things to judge them by.
Okay, let me...
Okay. Thanks so much. I think one of the biggest problems, concerns that we have as a nation is management of expectations and enlightenment. I always like to tell people that governance is like music, and that each artist plays a different type of genre, a different genre of music. You have Afrobeat, you have R&B, you have classicals, all sorts, different types. Now, PDP came as a government and said, look, I'm playing the music of restructuring Nigeria and the music of agriculture, making us food sustainable. Now, within those two, others could say, what are we going to do? But in asking me, I'm sure you'll be saying, what have you done? Because for others, it's a promise. For us, it's a scorecard. And my brother, with every sense of modesty and responsibility, on the first point, the national conference that was convoked was something that every single Nigerian gave credit to and said, this makes sense. And if that was one of our cardinal points, I think that Nigerians will only be fair to PDP to say, what you promised, you have delivered. However, that is step one. PDP says that thing that we have a workable document that everybody has agreed that this makes sense. We don't want it to go the way of the others, where we have amazing documents that rot on our libraries. We want to take to the next level of implementing this. And we are at the end of the age, as it were, or the termination of the dispensation, or of the life of the administration. We want to enter the next 4 years and make sure that Nigeria is truly restructured. That is point one. We requested, we delivered, and Nigerians will agree that, yes, you scored 100 on that. We now come to the second one, which is the most interesting, which has to do with agriculture. For the first time, Nigerians are unanimous that the basics, the fundamentals of our agricultural stay are being addressed. It started from the fertilizer scam. We all were aware of it. Everybody knew about the fertilizer scam. Today, over 14 million farmers have, like my prof, and I think it's very unfair for you to carry me and put on the same pedestal as a professor, but I'll try. My prof had said something about the handset, and she's extremely correct. It's something we can relate to. Today, every farmer gets information on his handset on agriculture. The fertilizer scam is out of the way. Nigeria is actually having back the pyramids of groundnut in Kano. They are coming back. Nigeria is now going on dry season farming. If you realize what happened about 2 years ago, there was this massive flood that just cleared everywhere. What should have come right after that would have been famine. Have you realized that the price of grains and our staple foods remained relatively stable? Why was that so? It's because there's a roadmap on agriculture. There's a definite position that the PDP has taken on agriculture. And you may not rate us 100% on education, 100%. You know, as you take the next step, you take the next genre of music. But for the two that were promised as cardinal, I'll tell you with every sense of modesty that the PDP has achieved nothing less than 85 to 90% on those two scores. And I think that the question is not what will you do? The question is what have you done? And even my people here, as I'm talking, you can see everybody's nodding. For those two areas, they can say that, yes, the PDP has done well.
Okay. That's our questions part.
Well, if he has not asked me, maybe I will not have bothered to make comment over it. But I will say that Nigerian government since 1960 to date have not fundamentally changed the life of Nigerians. And like he said, pyramids are coming back. But is the pyramid is it the problem? But we are seeing in primary production, we produce raw materials that we cannot process at this age since 1960 to present day. So what I'm trying to say essentially is simple as this. Without the fundamental change of who control the commanding idea of the economy, who control power, who control energy, who control the bank, if the money today is still being owned by the new John Holt, you know, in those days it was John Holt. Today now you have Shell, Texaco who manage our oil. Then they export our oil and come and sell at a higher price for us. They will export our cocoa, take it overseas. They come and sell the cocoa. That's 100% of what they have sold to us. If our agriculture is at that level, you can understand why Nigeria has not moved forward. Okay. So if we don't, if we don't address that fundamental, if we don't address it, Nigeria will just be going around the same circle, not moving forward.
I don't know if I can give some
No, you will give information, but we need to go to Niger State, where our correspondent Gilbert is standing by to bring us up to speed on what happened with the mock authentication of voters. Hello, Gilbert.
Hello, good evening, Nathan.
Good evening. Tell us, how did it go today at the authentication of the voters?
There was a low turnout at the mock. There was a low turnout, and the few ones that even came out could not have their fingerprint verified. Reason given by the INEC, the rec is that most of the people in Shiroro are farmers, and because they are farmers, their fingerprint is hard. And because of that, it will take kerosene and spirit to wash it off. But generally speaking, it was peaceful as people came out in very early this morning to do the mock registration.
Oh, okay, you're saying that all those that came out, none of them could be authenticated?
No, some about 5%. About 5% had their fingerprint authenticated, while every other person's card was seen. You know, your name appears on the card, but the fingerprint is the issue.
Okay, were there any incidents, for instance, Emmanuel reports that in Rivers State there was an incident of a fake card that appeared. Were there any incidents of that sort?
No, there's no incident of fake cards.
There are also this report about underage voters. Were there any underage voters that came out for authentication?
No. Where they went to is a sleepy town. Everybody knows themselves. So everybody knows themselves. So there was no issue of underage voting there.
All right. Thank you very much, Gilbert. Our correspondent Gilbert speaking to us from Niger, where they also did the mock authentication of voters. We'll take a break, and when we'll come back, we'll continue our conversation about the manifestos. Please join us again.